So, we're getting ready to welcome up Shelley Norris. Shelley holds a master's degree in organizational development psychology and has dedicated 35 years to the fields of social work and education. She is the founder of Corey's Network, which is what we'll hear about today. So with that, let's please give a warm Oasis welcome to Shelley Norris.
Hello. I don't know if y'all would get this reference, but I feel like Madonna with this thing on. Right? Voguing? Sorry. This is so that I don't run over on my time, so that I can respect your day. Again, my name is Shelley Norris, and this is my clicker. And I am president, co-founder of Corey's Network, and I'm also Corey's mom. Corey's Network was named for Corey Lakovich, who died in 2013 as a result of homicide. Corey's Network has been a fully functioning 501c3 less than a year after Corey was murdered. July 28th is when he died. By June 1st of the next year, we were a 501c3. Me and the clicker don't get along, apparently. There we go. Out in the foyer, if you haven't already received one of our brochures, there are some brochures out there. You're welcome to grab as many as you need, as well as we've got bracelets, and we've got these little pins. And the little pins, believe it or not, like here. There you go. See, I can do that. The little pins, believe it or not, is when we go to court with a client whose family member's murderer is being brought to justice. They won't allow you to wear a shirt that says the person's name on it or anything that's going to represent them. So this is actually just a silent way that we are able to show support and unity inside of a courtroom. So if you grab one of these, know that you're supporting silently the victims of homicide. So let me tell you a little bit more about Corey's Network. Corey's Network provides immediate support and advocacy to the surviving victims of homicide. We do this through 4 different, what we call pillars. Number 1, we help people get counseling. Number 2, we help them understand the investigation and the court process. Number 3, we help them get in connection with the media. And then the 4th, probably the biggest one that people know us for, is we have helped pay for over 495 funerals of homicide victims in the Kansas City metro. Thank you. Now, as a sad side note to that, 4 of those were this week. We average about 60 clients per year, which is about half of the homicide rate on a usual basis. We also have identified over 700 unsolved homicides since 1970, and we try to make sure that those stay in the media. We make sure that they are honored at a vigil, etc. And I'm going to talk more about each one of these in just a moment. Additional services. We provide a program called the Grief to Relief Seminars. I'll explain what GRIEF is an acronym for in a minute. We create the unsolved homicide posters. We do a yearly unsolved homicide vigil, and we also do a bereavement block presentation. And I'm going to share that with you too in a minute. Grief to Relief. GRIEF is an acronym for groups in the area, reporters, investigators, enforcement, and forward. So what we do, number 1, we don't believe in siloing. We believe that there are a lot of different programs out there. If you look at my logo, it's a ball or a round circle. Circles are usually round. Anyways, but a circle, and it's got puzzle piece interlocking in different colors. And that's because we believe in diversity, and we believe in connecting people to what they need in the community, and that we all need to work together to be able to form a bond and create the circle that homicide victims really need to have around them. But So what we do is we'll introduce other people. Like yesterday, we did our Grief to Relief group, and I had the president of Ad Hoc Group Against Crime there, and I also had one of the people from the Children of Homicide Victims group there. And the reason why is because we partner with them to be able to provide counseling services and any children's services that we might need. Reporters. Next month, not Sarah Plake, but one of her coworkers is going to come from KSHB. And what they do is they sit down with our clients during the meeting. It's not an interview. Instead, what we're trying to do is devilify the media so that when somebody does go through something like this, they're not afraid that people are going to come running out with a microphone and put it in your face. Instead, you know that person very well, and you can call them. They will give you their personal cell phone numbers, their personal email numbers, their business card. I have Laura Moritz's phone number in my phone. And I know a lot of you watch Channel 9 and Laura Moritz, you know, Larry and Laura from back in the 80s. But anyway, so she's been working with us, and she'll come in and sit down and talk to people and just explain how she would go about presenting their case on the news. About 85% of the old cases that you see on the TV are probably coming through Corey's network. We don't ask for anyone to recognize that because this is the other person's story. It's not Corey's story. In that particular case, it's John Doe, who was murdered in 1985. Investigators next month will have, or not next month, but in July, we'll have the captain of homicide from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. I can't pronounce his last name, but his first name is Chase. And he'll be there to be able to help people understand, how do I get a hold of my detective? How do I help out? If somebody tells me something about my son's murder, what should I do with that information? So it helps them understand how the investigation is going to handle. E for enforcement, we usually have prosecuting attorneys or other individuals that are from the court that will come in and say, why was my son's death charged as a voluntary manslaughter versus a murder? To me, it's a murder, but they can explain to you why it didn't reach that particular statute. So helping people understand that. Also, what can you wear into court? Like I said, you can't wear a t-shirt with your loved one's name on it or anything like that. What can I say in court? Please do not go into court and cuss. Judges don't like that. Don't go in there and start yelling at the defendant or any of that other stuff. You're the bigger person when you walk into court. So helping them understand that. And then forward. We don't believe in moving on. There is no getting over. You do not move on from your child. You move on from your ex-boyfriend, right? You don't move on. Sorry, Todd was my ex-boyfriend a long time ago. I apologize. But the thing is, though, is there's a big difference. And when you look at somebody and say, when are you going to get closure for this? Corey died in 2013. It's 2026, and I am not over my child. You shouldn't be expected to be over somebody that you loved, okay? These are some of the unsolved homicide flyers. You may have seen some of these on Facebook. If you like us on Facebook, every day on what we call the anniversary of the person's murder. An anniversary is something you celebrate. An anniversary is something you recognize, but it's not happy, okay? So on the anniversary of a person's murder, then their flyer is then published, and then every year as well, the last weekend of July, we start a virtual vigil, and at 6 o'clock on Friday morning, the last weekend in July, we start every 5 minutes, another poster of an unsolved homicide person is being spotlighted. And you can be part of that vigil if you'd like to be. I do know that Ad Hoc Group Against Crime lets us take over their Facebook page. I know that Mom on a Mission does, Children of Homicide Victims, unsolved cases, not unsolved, missing and unsolved of Northwest Missouri. They all let me take over their Facebook pages, and every 5 minutes, all of those Facebook pages are pumping these out. Each one of them, all 700, if we have a picture, the picture of the individual is on there. If you notice, the one on the right, no, my right, your left. The one on the left is actually from January 2nd, 1970, okay? And the one on the right, that gentleman was murdered January 14th, 2025. So we cover from 1970 forward. Matter of fact, my husband that I lost last year went to high school with this gentleman. And that's how we knew about his murder. And then since then, people have just added to us. Every year we do an unsolved vigil, as well as the virtual vigil that's on Facebook and on Instagram and I hate to call it X because somebody named it that, but anyways, Twitter. What we do is we pump those out, but in addition to that, at 6 o'clock on that Sunday evening, we do a vigil in person so that people who want to be able to recognize that the person that they loved is still unsolved. They can come there, they can talk to the reporters, they can talk to detectives, they can talk to whoever they want to, make a community, just like you guys, having a community of people that understand what you're going through and be able to sit down. And as you can see, this young man right there is sitting down next to his uncle and his dad's picture, and they both died before he was even born, but he's able to go there and be able to see a picture of his daddy and know you have not been forgotten. Okay? I always compare it to, every year we get those statistics where it says something along the lines of, we've had 156 murders this year, but we don't count the ones from last year. It's like going to the doctor and being diagnosed in 2024 for diabetes, but in 2025 your insurance says, well, you don't have it anymore. And that's not the case. We've got this illness going back to 1970, and we need to be able to face it. So that brings me to the bereavement block portion. I am going to share with you just a demonstration of what the bereavement blocks are. But number one is dispelling beliefs about grief. As many of you, have any of you ever heard of the Kubler-Ross grief stages? Yeah. Okay. And you don't have to be a psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker. I've been doing social work for 38 years. I don't put that on the website because I'm too young to have done it that long, I'm sure. But anyone who's ever been in any kind of a helping field or anything else, you are aware of the Kubler-Ross stages of grief. What we try to do is help people understand that you don't go through one stage and move on to the next, and then move on to the next. The idea of our bereavement blocks is that every day that you wake up, you're going to be in a different stage. Today, I woke up in normalcy. That's why I can tell you about the murder of my son and not cry today. But don't come to me in a week, because I might cry that day. Okay? It is research-based. It's based off of these 4 different stage theories. Number 1, the Kubler-Ross, of course, have to give a nod. And then the dual process model of grief, Tonkin's model of grief, and the meaning reconstruction theory. Good, we're good on time. Okay. And what it's talking about is a lot of times people think that you're going to go through grief kind of like this. It's going to be one smooth sailing thing, and then by the time you're done with it. But in reality, the way you really experience it, okay, I could have drawn that. That would have been good. But this is what really happens. So this is trying to help people understand and give you a visual of how it's going to affect your life, a way to touch something, because we know that you learn through sight, touch, and hearing. Okay? The bereavement blocks, each color represents a different stage of grief. You can see here that it's shock, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and normalcy. What we're going to be doing is we're going to roll a dice, just like you're waking up in the morning and you don't know which stage of grief you're going to be in. You're going to roll a dice, and whatever that dice lands on, that is the stage of grief you're going to wake up in that morning. And don't worry, I'm not going to make y'all do this. I'm going to have Todd and Ashley come up here to help out. But when you roll it, It's a roll of the dice. Tomorrow I could wake up irritable. And believe me, I do. I wake up kind of pissy sometimes. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that. And then 2 or more people can participate. So you're going to see 3 of us do this, and they'll be asked to roll the dice, pull the color that they have rolled. So if I rolled a yellow, then I would be expected to pull one from the yellow section, which is bargaining. And then on each of these has a different manifestation on the top. It's not enough to say I woke up normal today. What does that mean? How does that act out in your life? Okay, this one says, today I might have self-esteem. I have enough self-esteem to stand up here and be a nut. So there you go, right? Okay, and then the person who's pulling it will say, today I woke up in normalcy, and the way that it's acting out for me today is I've got self-esteem. Then you place the block on the top, and we go from there. So, let's play. Come on up, you two. And you guys have got the microphone, right? I'm going to go first just to kind of get this party started, and we're not going to go through a long period of this. I pulled purple, which is normalcy, which is fun. Let me see if I can get one out that you didn't already see. Back. Okay. So I woke up in normalcy today, and today I'm able to move forward. Today, the way that I'm feeling is I'm able to move forward with my life. Not move on, not get over, not have closure, but I'm able to move on with, not move on, but move forward with what I need to do in my life. I can pay my bills. I can talk about my child. I can talk to a group of people. I can do whatever. I'm able to move forward today. So I'm going to take my block and I'm going to put it at the top. And then I'm going to ask Todd to go ahead and roll his dice. Orange.
Oh, boy.
And neither of these have ever played this game before, so I just want you to know this is not scripted. Matter of fact, I'm not sure he knows how. Oh, there you go. You got an anger. Okay.
Okay, today I woke up in anger, and I feel shame. Yeah, shame that I even had to go through it, and shame for my wife who passed, and my kids. Just feel shame.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes that hits really hard with homicide victims because a lot of times parents will say that it's, you know, I feel ashamed that my child was murdered and that we don't have any answers because apparently no one thinks that my child is worth getting the answers. Or how about somebody who commits suicide? Don't you think their family still grieves? They still grieve. So why does that person wake up in shame that they feel bad that their child killed themselves? Go ahead, Ashley.
All right. Green, depression. Hopefully not knock this over. Depression, helplessness. So I've had several surgeries on the same thing, and I just had my follow-up appointment, and it didn't go as well as I was hoping. So that can start feeling into that helplessness of almost like, it almost seems like no matter like what you're trying to do to like heal from something like that, still getting that news of a setback starts feeling helpless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the really cool things about this particular tool is that I have used it for race relations, LGBT coming out to their family or accepting their family. Face it, we've all lost people due to political beliefs. You know, we've lost people because of divorce. We've lost them. I work with foster kids for my day job. I deal with kids every day that have lost their parents and their parents have lost them. So grief hits us in many different ways. My son was murdered. His wife died of cancer. She's been through surgery. All different and all valid. And as you go through this process, what happens, thank you very much. We're not going to go very long because I don't want to go over. But as you go through this process, what happens, see, me and this clicker don't get along. Number one, the randomness of the rolling the dice, it shows the way that grief happens on a daily basis. The second thing is the changing color scheme at the top. Up here, this is all going to become intermeshed. It is representative of the way grief changes us on a daily basis. This is what society thinks we're going to go through, but this is who we are. This is who we become, and it's okay to become this. It's okay to be experiencing it randomly and in a way that's easily toppled. The next one is no matter how perfectly you play this game, you will never get the blocks off the bottom. You're never going to get completely over all of it. You know, even if she's gone through her surgery and etc., and she gets everything fixed, she's still going to have that period of time in her life that she wasn't able to do whatever she needed to do. The next one, it helps us understand that though we may experience grief differently, there are some universal truths. Like I said, 3 different griefs, but we all had the same universal truth. And a lot of times you hear from homicide victims, suicide survivors, you know, people that, we call them survivors if you're the person who has to deal with it here on earth, you know? You're above the ground, you're the survivor. So you've got these survivors that, you know, you don't know what I'm going through. Your grief isn't like my grief. You lost a dog, I lost a son. That's not true. The truth is, people experience grief, and it's okay. The last one is when the tower falls, and it will, we must rebuild, but nothing will be exactly like it used to be. Now, normally we'd play this game for a little while, so I'm going to do a trigger warning. What do we do when it collapses? Start all over. You start putting it back up, right? It's not going to look the same. Doesn't matter how long you build. Something's going to get screwed up. And it's okay. It is okay. I keep talking into this like it's my damn microphone. I'm taking this bad boy home with me. Number 1 point here, know that you can rebuild. Look for your village. If I wasn't up here on the stage, I'm sure that, and if the blocks had fallen down, Julie would have handed me back a block. You don't always know who's going to help you pick it back up. Okay, it could be some woman whose child was murdered in 2013 that came here to meet you. And that's what we have to understand. The village is where we find it, not who we think should be providing it. I've lost family members because of this. I have a sister that does not want to talk about Corey's murder because it makes her feel bad about her own child living. And your real friends don't need to be asked to help. You shouldn't have to go to somebody and say, can you help me out with? So, a couple of things here. We believe in being prepared, okay? We believe in prevention. We are not against prevention in any way, shape, or form at Corey's Network. But just like in fire and in the forest, you need to have Smokey the Bear, but you also need firefighters. And as long as there are homicides out in Kansas City is going to need Corey's Network. Period. You can get a hold of me through all of these nifty phone numbers and emails and all that other stuff. We are on Facebook. If you'd like to be part of that vigil, please, just like us and just watch so that you're aware of what people are actually feeling this death. Because next year you may not hear about somebody who was murdered Tuesday. But if that case is unsolved on Corey's Network, I guarantee you that you're going to hear about it next year. and you're going to hear about it during our vigil.
Thank you.